今年もアワード発表の季節がやってきましたね。 MVP 争いに参加している大谷翔平選手ですが、各リーグからファイナリストがすでに選出されています。移籍情報も合わせて現地は月曜日ということもあり、たくさん情報が出ています。本日2本目の動画は大谷翔平選手の MVP 関連情報と佐々木朗希選手の現地評価、ファンソト選手、大谷選手、ジャッジ選手の比較を行った番組を翻訳してお届けいたします。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する情報と気になるメジャーリーグの最新ニュースを翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
Let's talk a little bit about Shohei Ohtani.
I'm not going to help the team on the mound. Oh, I know how I'll get better. I'll steal 50 bags this year.
Great at a level that is almost historic.
Can you believe this? This is the show that never ends.
I mean, this guy's hitting balls to parts unknown.
Ohtani is inevitable.
One-of-a-kind player, Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club. He is not human. Here are your finalists for National League Most Valuable Player, Francisco Lindor. What an incredible run since May 18th. At 108 games, he had 304, 26 home runs. Before that, was hitting under 200. Francisco Lindor in the leadoff spot became one of the best players, not just in the National League, but in all of baseball. Our second finalist for NL MVP, Shohei Ohtani. He'd be the first DH to win an MVP award, not counting the two-way seasons. He'd be the second player in Major League Baseball history to win an MVP in the American League and National League, joining Frank Robinson, who did it in 61, and then the AL in 66. Fewest games played by a position player, 0 as well. To win an MVP previously was Don Baylor with 97 in 1979. And our third finalist for NL MVP, Ketel Marte. He was second in the league in slugging, OPS plus, fourth in home runs with 36, the mainstay star for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's see how their numbers stack up side by side by side. Francisco Lindor, the average doesn't stand out, but he is the captain of this team, the field general at shortstop, terrific defender and base runner. Ketel Marte, you can say the same thing for him, but Shohei Ohtani, without playing a single game in the field, who cares? He keeps rewriting the rules, the unwritten rules of baseball. I don't know if a guy can be a starting pitcher and also be a full-time DH. He proved us wrong there. I don't know if a slugger that hits 50 home runs would ever be able to steal over 50 bases. He did that as well. He is in his own category now.
We ready to say? Well, I think that gave it away right there.
That one swing, right?
We didn't bring in Freddie Freeman to say, Freddie, sorry, you didn't win. Yeah. Freddie Freeman, congratulations on the historic walk-off grand slam. That is the legendary moment of this season.
I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. A lot of good nominees right there, too. Everyone deserved this. So, but thank you very much for this. This is pretty cool.
It was so emphatic, but I want to even go back and get your thought on it. It's the 10th inning, bottom of the 10th.
Yep.
All right. So Yankees are up on top 3-2 at that point. And it doesn't, at the time I'm thinking it's not even going to get to the top of the order. Until Gavin Lux was walked by Jay Cousin, I didn't think it was going to get to the top of the order, Ohtani, and then the rest. What were you thinking as you were kind of deep in the hole there?
Yeah, so once Gavin walked, you could feel the energy in the dugout starting to get going, and then Tommy hit the base hit up the middle that got off the glove of the second baseman. So then we had first and second. So then we were feeling pretty good because we had Shohei coming up. But they brought in Nestor, and he got Shohei out on the first pitch. And then knowing the rules and Verdugo going into the stands, I kind of figured they would walk Mookie because that would have been on second and third. So I started just going through the plan of what I was going to do and what I was going to look for in that instance. And that's kind of just what I was thinking about the whole time as I was going up to the plate.
What were you thinking? Because I remember as I'm watching, I'm in the stadium, and I see Cortez come out. I see Nestor Cortez come out. And even I'm thinking, whoa, they're bringing in Nestor Cortez. What were you thinking at the time as you're one in the hole at that point? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, they had both warming up, him and Tim Hill. So we were just kind of getting ourselves ready. And then once we saw Nestor get the call, that's when we started going over the video. I actually watched Shohei's at-bats against Nestor to see how he pitched Shohei, because when Shohei gets into the box, everyone's back's against the wall. So I wanted to see what he was going to be throwing to him in that situation. So a lot of cutters and sliders away and fastballs in to up and in to Shohei during his career against Nestor. So that's kind of how I was going into that at bat. So I decided to look closer to me in that instance So I wouldn't swing at the cutter and the slider away, so I could just check off those real fast. And thankfully, he threw it right where I was looking.
So you're looking at video in the dugout of at bats.
Yeah, so that's usually what we
fast.
do. That's usually what we do when a new pitcher is coming in. We kind of look at bats, and usually you look at his last few plate appearances against guys, or just plate appearances against yourself. But since Shohei was already going up, I decided to look at Shohei's and see how he was going to pitch to him.
One last thing, and I'll let Dan join the equation here. Sorry to hog this. I'm fascinated by this because also in my mind, having seen you in the previous series and how hurt you were, I didn't think you could turn. I think that's why the stadium erupted, because it was so violent, because I don't think a lot of people were used to you being able to turn on a pitch given your injury at that point.
Yeah, I hadn't really turned on anything, to be honest with you, in about 3 or 4 weeks. I just really had no front side. The whole playoffs, my front foot just wouldn't turn like I wanted it to. I couldn't stay into that front leg at all. So, but I was feeling so much better going into the World Series. Just got a lot of treatment and got into a good spot. And my first at bat, I hit that triple. So when I ran around the bases and slid into third and got up, and I didn't feel like I was going to fall over, I was like, oh, maybe I'm actually in a really good spot here in the pain wise. So and my hitting was really good the couple of days prior going into. So I was just feeling very confident in where my injuries were and how I was feeling at the plate.
Freddie, it's Dan. When you hit it, did you know it was gone when you hit it?
Oh yeah, I certainly did. Those are the ones when you hit and it starts going up, and you flush it, and you're like, okay, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I pointed like I did. It just kind of happened. That's as cool as I can get, I think. I don't have anything else, but yeah.
Do you remember much of the tour running around the bases? Like, do you remember getting to second and third?
No, I kind of blacked out, to be honest. Like, you just hit a walk-off grand slam in the World Series. It's just kind of, you black out. And usually we wave to our bullpen just because that's kind of what we do throughout the course of the year. But when I went to go wave to them, I looked over there and they were just going nuts. So I figured a wave was not going to do the trick in that moment. So that's when I went with the flex and the scream at them. So, I don't know. That just kind of happened too. And everything just kind of flowed naturally. And I think that's what makes it so cool is, you never think about it. It just, whatever happens, makes the moment just a little bit better.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Right now, a couple of weeks later now, you're just back to being a regular dad, right? Word on the street is you were kind of tugged to get a new pet, maybe a cat named Champ?
Yeah, so this was like a couple days after we won, and we have grinded, so I needed to I was taking a nap, and we had to go to a dinner just a little bit later, so I was like worn out, and I was like, I'm going to take a nap real quick. And Chelsea was like, oh, there's this a little pet adoption thing where they have a bunch of animals. They'll just take the kids there for an hour while you rest. And I said, oh, okay, sounds good. Next thing you know, my phone's blowing up, and I'm like, geez. And I look, and it's my wife, so I answered it. And it's literally Charlie on the FaceTime saying, Daddy, can we get a cat? And like over and over and over just asking me. And I like, how do you say no to an 8-year-old? It was hard. I couldn't. And 20 minutes later, there's a new cat named Champ in our house. So he's actually a great cat. So I'm okay with it.
Excellent. Freddie, before we go, like your son Max, how is he doing? A lot of people were wondering how he's doing. A health update?
Yeah, he's doing really well. He just finished PT about an hour ago. He's so ahead of schedule, according to our neurologist and all our physical therapists. So he's doing really well. He's getting a lot more flexion into his ankles, into his knees. So his walking is starting to get more and more normal looking. So we are right on the right trajectory here. So hopefully by the time you guys see him in person in spring training or whatever, you'll just see him running around like a normal 4-year-old then.
Oh, that's fantastic. A lot of people so happy with that, praying for you and hoping for the best. And Freddie, again, we say it even behind the scenes, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Congratulations on the success and the legendary moment. That was fantastic. Congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Dan, very much. We'll talk soon.
All right, got it. Covering the Premier 12 tournament. JP, great to have you. You tell us what this means with Sasaki coming over at this age and what it means financially to teams in the major leagues.
BK, good evening there and good morning here in Taipei City, Taiwan. Yes, Roki Sasaki, this is now one of the great stories of the baseball world for the coming weeks. We don't yet know when the posting window will begin. That's the one unknown. But what we do know is that Roki Sasaki has a powerful arm, and he's proven it in the World Baseball Classic, as you talked about. That fastball reaching 102 miles an hour against a very good Team Mexico in that semifinal game. The really interesting part here is that he is not yet 25 years of age. And so, for the purposes of the CBA, he's considered an international amateur. That means that his entry contract to MLB is likely to be much closer to what Ohtani's contract was when he first signed with the Angels than what Yamamoto's deal was a year ago with the Dodgers. So likely to be somewhere in the range of $3, maybe $4 million. The key question, BK, will be this. Will we see the Chibolote Marines post Sasaki in the 2024 portion, or at what point in time in the 2024 portion will that posting window begin? Because if that window, which is 45 days, carries over into 2025, then he becomes part of the 2025 international class, and more teams will have the capacity to sign him than if he was posted early on in 2024.
Okay, but since he is cheaper, does this open it up to all major league clubs? I mean, in realistic economic terms, or no? What are you saying?
Yes, all very close to all, BK, and that's where the distinction comes into whether or not he counts against the bonus pool for 2024 or 2025. Objectively speaking, we're talking about the differences between a $2 million signing bonus and a $3 million signing bonus. So it's a relatively small, in baseball terms, difference, and it's much more going to be about, BK, the fit, where he wants to pitch. Similar again to Ohtani with the Angels. He surprised a lot of people. Ohtani felt most comfortable there. It will not surprise anybody who's watched our show during the offseason that the team actually, with still the most money left in the 2024 bonus pool, the Los Angeles Dodgers. How about that? What a coincidence, BK. The Dodgers have allowed just a little bit of money left over to potentially sign this man. But if you consider the big picture here, a team like the San Diego Padres, the San Francisco Giants, our colleague Mark Feinstein wrote recently at MLB.com that even clubs like the Mets, the Yankees, the Blue Jays, really anybody who has signing bonus capacity left in this signing area, the 2024, they're all in play. And it's going to be up to the teams to present to Roki and say, listen, we believe that our plan, our pitching development plan, is the best path for you to eventually sign a contract like Shohei did or like Yamamoto did to get you to free agency, because he is still, BK, much more a prospect than a finished product.
Okay, all right, well put. Again, good intel here. So you're out in Taiwan and covering the Premier 12 tournament out there. What are they saying? Again, you have a worldwide group that is there right there. What are they saying about Roki Sasaki?
Yeah, well, I'm excited, BK, because I'll be with Team Japan later on this week here in Taipei City. They're one of the 6 teams that I'll get to broadcast here, along with Team Korea and Team Chinese Taipei. Australia with Travis Bazzana, by the way, the #1 overall pick to the Guardians. He's going to play in this tournament. Do Young Kim will play in the tournament for Team Korea. This is the tournament where the young stars of tomorrow are evident, because Yamamoto won a gold medal with Team Japan 5 years ago at 21 years of age. Shohei Ohtani pitched in this tournament at 21 years of age. So when I'm around Team Japan later this week, BK, I'll be asking a lot of the position players who faced him and also the other pitchers, hey, what should I be telling our viewers back in the States about Roki Sasaki?
Excellent.
I can't wait.
Excellent stuff. Again, Taipei City, Taiwan. JP Morosi. Thanks, JP. Good chatting with you.
Okay. All the best. Thank you.
Tell me about this kid. Again, he had 102.5 miles per hour. If you saw the semifinals against Japan against Mexico, he went 4 innings. He gave up a 3-run home run to Luis Urias. Other than that, he was pretty clean.
Yeah, he has more like you'd look at a conventional pitcher's body, a guy in the 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. Physically, not a really big, strong-looking guy, right? Yu Darvish is a big guy. Right. Even Yamamoto is well put together. He's kind of a long, lanky guy, kind of a long-armed guy. Ball just really explodes out of his hand. This is from the World Baseball Classic. I mean, this is smooth, 101 miles an hour. Really good breaking stuff. As JP touched on, I think the difference between he and Imanaga and Yamamoto was the fact he's a little less polished. He's younger, good split finger. I think what you're buying here is you're buying the future. I think the Dodgers, when they bought Yamamoto and the Cubs took Imanaga, they were buying immediate results. So I think if you're going to go this route, you're going to have to be a little bit more on the patient side. But if that's the case, then I think as an organization, I would like that, because if you're the Dodgers, say, Brian, you know they have great intel department with their pitching development and mechanics. They might be able to find some things and straighten some things out with him that they may see that may be red flags down the road, and you can help shape this guy. Listen, one of the things that happened, there's an influx of talent coming in now from Japan and from overseas, and teams are not afraid to go that route. Imanaga's proven that. Yamamoto has proven that. It's there. You could throw Darvish into that mix, too. He bounced back good this year, too.
You know, that impresses me even more in that, like, we know Shohei Ohtani is one of the top pitchers in baseball when he's healthy enough to pitch. Yamamoto clearly is going to be one of those guys, but also Shota Imanaga comes over. He's 31, goes to the Cubs. He has a fantastic season. He has 173 innings, year one, and a sub-3 ERA.
Yeah, and a lot of built-in excuses, right? The knock on him was high fly ball rate. How's that going to hold up in Wrigley Field in June, July, and August when the wind blows out? Got off to a great start, hit a little bit of a lull right at the All-Star break, but BK, he finished the season guns a-blazing. So teams that maybe were a little weary to go across that way to bring in some pitching talent, I don't think they are anymore, and these guys have shown that brand of ball, that brand of pitching, it plays here too.
Right. You need, as JP said, right, pitcher development. What is your baseball ops team like, and can you get the best out of a pitcher? I think that will play into it. But otherwise, money is not what it normally is, you know, at the high end of the free agent market. It's free agent season this year. Obviously, we have one of the biggest free agents to ever hit the market. Hall of Fame trajectory, already with a championship track record, and just entering his prime. Let's put Juan Soto, free agent, into the shredder. Juan Soto is entering his age 26 season. That is very young to hit the market, the same age as Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. It means you were a regular in the majors at the age of 19. He picked a good year to have his best season with the Yankees in a pretty good hitter's park. He had his best OPS plus and WAR in a full season. His OPS plus was third best in baseball behind only Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. I'll put it this way. This year, there are only 2 players with a 400 on base in the majors. Soto has never had an on base below 400. Not once in 7 seasons. His process, state-of-the-art. This year, only 3 qualified hitters had more walks than strikeouts. 3. Soto has done that every year for 5 straight years. So a little more on the process. This past season, he was second only to his teammate Aaron Judge in xWOBA. That's the quality of your contact, as was he. 463, 44 for Judge, only 448 for Shohei Ohtani. What your weighted on base is expected to be with the quality of contact. He was always third, also third in hard hit percentage, third in barrel percentage. Both times it was only Judge and Ohtani ahead of him. Also of note, here's the strikeout rate. Look at this. Judge at 24%, Ohtani 22%. Soto down here at 16.7. He strikes out a lot less than Judge and Ohtani. And in that barrel percentage, by the way, he had the lowest strikeout rate of anybody in the top 10. So Soto is the prototype of the effective modern hitter. He has the most walks of anyone over the last 4 years. He does not chase pitches outside of the strike zone. And when he gets you in the zone, he hits for power. Over the last 4 years, he is #1 in chase rate. Those are the leaders right there. #1 in not chasing pitches outside of the strike zone. And of the top 12 in chase percentage, Soto is the only one slugging over 500 with over 1,000 plate appearances. This was exemplified by his epic at-bat against Cleveland in the American League Championship Series. State-of-the-art plate discipline, ability to foul off tough pitches, and then when the ball came into the zone, the ball would go out of the park. 64 plate appearances this year. He slugged .633. In his career in the postseason, 191 plate appearance. He's slugging .538. He has great at-bats, and he has them against tough pitching in the playoffs. So, okay. However, in those same playoffs, we saw the part of his game that is not state-of-the-art. That's defense and base running. The defensive metrics were not that bad this year, but you could see even in the World Series some bad routes, some extra bases, and yes, it does matter. Here's his fielding run value. That's the StatCast defensive stat. And the base running runs over the last 4 years. Fielding run value, you can see in 2021, it's +1. That's about league average. -17. That's bad. Maybe that's a little unfair, but okay. It's also -7, and then this year it's -1. Base running runs, again, 0 is league average, -3, -2, -1, -3.8. The base running is below league average, and that's this year. Again, well below average, and that's in his age 25 season. Obviously, the club that signs him will have him long-term when he's not even running or fielding this well. That's the downside. But he is a rare free agent, this good, this young. The comps are Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. I just mentioned them. Both were also going to be 26 years old. Both got over $300 million. And both are, this is important, considered successful foundational signings for their clubs, the Phillies and the Padres. So here's what all three did the 4 years leading up to free agency. Soto is the best hitter between Soto, Harper, and Machado. A 164 OPS, also OPS plus, also a 6.5 WAR, wins above replacement. Harper is closest in hitting. Machado, the elite fielding third baseman, is the closest in WAR. I reiterate, free agent signings are a 50-50 bet on the whole, but Harper and Machado are success stories. And Juan Soto, 4 years leading up, is on top. He'll get paid like it as well.
ソト選手の三振の少なさが話題になっていましたが、確かにこう見比べると結構な差がありますね。ジャッジ選手、大谷選手ともにインパクトのあるホームラン数や打率になっているので誰が一番ということはないですが、この若さでこれだけの数字を残していることを考えると将来性も加味し、多額の投資をしたくなるのが今の市場心理ということですね。連日過熱する FA 関連情報ですが、年内に佐々木選手、ソト選手に少し動きが見えると面白いですね。皆さんはどちらが先に移籍先が決まると思いますか？ぜひ予想をコメント欄で教えてくださいね。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。